Hi everybody. Uh, I believe we're live and I am a little bit late. I apologize. um, yeah, I lots of exciting things happened today. Not as many of the things I intended to do with the day, but it's nice to be jumping back on a Tuesday live stream and connecting with you all. And thanks for those of you that sent through questions during the week. It's actually been really, really good. Amazing questions, thank you. And we're going to cover a bunch of them tonight. I also have realized it's like just reading your questions in advance makes me realize how many things along the way I've dealt with and figured out, or ask someone else to be like, how does this work? So as per last week, I've got a couple that I made a little video because it just explains things a little bit better. But we're going to dive through this week some questions on looping volume levels. Really, really good question, Craig. Thank you. And a little bit about what I do for songwriting, about the Takamine guitar. I get a lot of questions about the Takamine, even though some of you know I've switched to a new guitar PRS that I'm using, and also drum sounds. So if you're on, feel free to say hi, and yeah, just drop me a note in the chat. We can still do questions and things in the chat. Love to know where you're connecting in from and what's happening. Hopefully, I think I'm still going to have this this challenge with chat. It gives me the option for top chat or something rather than all of the chat. I want to see all of the chat, but maybe we'll see it all on the same screen, which would be great. So I think to kick things off, I'm gonna go through. We're just gonna chat live because some of you may have questions about this. But a question from Craig on the live setup. What is your question? Hey David, much respect in the work you do. Super impressed in how transparent you are with your craft, which leads me to my question. Thank you, Craig. Appreciate it. This is honestly the joy in this for me, is sharing literally anything and everything of what I do. I don't necessarily have the best necessarily the best answers, but obviously with time, playing full time, I've made a lot of mistakes. Hopefully I can solve and speed up some of those processes for you. So yeah, appreciate it. Right now I have just an acoustic amp, acoustic guitar, and the RC3. Awesome, nice, simple setup. So how do you control the volume when you're playing live and using the looper? So I'll read the question. What we're fundamentally getting at though is when you've got your guitar has some natural sound from it with an acoustic guitar, your amp is providing some of the sound, and then when you stop playing live because you've recorded a loop, those sound levels change. So to demonstrate, when the rhythm of the verses is the same as the solo section, what I do is play the first verse live while recording the loop. So this is kind of like mapping out looping. Then I hit playback while I solo, so while you're doing a lead. Pretty standard kind of approach to recording a solo section and having the chords play. Then stop the playback for continued verses. So for the rest of the verses, then Craig's playing live. The difficulty I'm having is making sure the volume is the same for both parts. It's hard to tell when I'm behind the mic and can hear both my guitar and what's coming through the amp. Do you walk out to the audience area to listen? Do you have a buddy in the crowd help you with the sound? Thanks so much, Craig. Craig, awesome question, man, and I think this will help a lot of people. I'm going to start out by saying, ideally, you want the same your loop level to be the same level as your guitar level through the PA. But there are exemptions from this, and so to do that, what you can check if you want to set up at home, and if you have an option to record or record out the back of your amp. That way you'll just be recording the line out. That means you can see if there's a change between the volume when you loop and the volume when you're playing live versus the recorded loop. So what that does is you're going to figure out where on your looper to set the loop level to have it be the same. Most cases, well, I say most cases, but I'm already thinking the Ditto X4, it only has a maximum loop level, not a greater loop level, which is unfortunate for what I'm about to say. So that's our like standard, probably most common setting. I used to play at a little cafe, so the amp level was very low. It was just a little boost to my acoustic setup. And what that meant was that when I hit loop and I played the solo, my solo playing seemed very loud compared to what was coming out of the amp. So in that scenario, if you've got a very low volume for your show all round, it might be that the sound out of your acoustic guitar is actually providing 50% of the volume the audience is hearing. So you, in that case, you're actually going to want to have your loop, when it plays back, be louder than the signal going through, because when you stop playing the chords on your guitar, you're losing that 50% that is the acoustic sound, and that has to be made up for with the amp, if you like. So really, really good question. The flip side of that is if you're in a really, really noisy venue, the acoustic sound of your guitar might count for like 1%. So there's going to be no noticeable difference when you start playing that loop. So I hope that makes sense, but it's a really, really good question, and especially important when you're playing a low volume gig. So yeah, very, very cool. We're gonna dive into, because I get asked this a lot, and I think this will help a lot of you. I recorded some examples, but we're going to talk about the drum sound and the drumming that I do on the guitar. So here is a little clip I made to answer that for you. If I can find it. Let's see. Alright, so some great questions this week. This one is from RockGod773. Thanks, brother. Drum sound. Hi, David. You got me started looping. That is cool. Love your videos. Thank you. One thing I noticed, how do you get that sound on your guitar? It sounds like you hit the top of your guitar, the top of the guitar, with a ring on the finger. No rings, but we will go through this. All I can get is a dull sound from my guitar. So I have plugged in both the new PRS and my Takamine, and I'm going to record them both. So this is the Takamine. We're going to get about the same, they're about the same volume if I play a chord. You'll notice on my older videos I tend to drum like this. I slap the bottom of the guitar, but what I'll do is I'll do the same groove on each guitar, and I'll add in the audio of the input signal. So what you're getting on the Takamine is and you're going to hear that audio was the direct line out from the jack. Now, if I do the same thing, the exact same thing, right, on this new PRS, I'm going to tap the body, do that same groove. The first time was this camera audio from the mic. So you can hear I'm doing the same thing on each guitar. The second time, you're hearing the input signal, what's actually getting picked up by the pickup. So some of you have been copying me and getting not great results on your guitar by tapping the body. It doesn't pick up that sound. So you just have to adjust and find what actually gets captured by the pickup. So to do it, plug in your guitar, experiment, listening to what's actually coming out of your pickup, out of that lead on your guitar, so you can figure out a good sound when you're looping live. So, yeah, that's where we're at in terms of the drum sound. I hope that is useful, and feel free if you are tuning in to put something in the chat and say hi. It's obviously great to connect in. But yeah, a lot of people I think have, with different pickup systems, have copied what I do and found that it just doesn't work. Which, no surprises. Every pickup and every guitar is a bit different. So yeah, that's where we get to. But jumping in with some questions, and again, thanks for sending them through. Isaac, thanks for this, man. Isaac sent through on the songwriting process. Hey David, Isaac here. I was just wondering if you could do an in-depth walkthrough of the creative process you go through while writing a song, and how you keep track of the music and lyrics for one. Do you have any tips or advice for beginner songwriters? Cheers, Isaac. Appreciate you, man, and thanks. It was really cool to connect when you were up in Auckland. Yeah, my songwriting process has changed, and it still varies, but one of the things I highly recommend doing is anytime you have an idea, just putting on the voice memo from your phone. I have, and the reason for this, I have various notes and written lyrics, little ideas with some chords above them that I have zero idea how they would go. I would have zero idea how to play them now. Purely because it was a one-off idea. I didn't play it for very long, and and it really is, writing a D chord or something on a sheet of paper gives you zero idea what groove you had, if you were picking, strumming, any of that sort of stuff. So I tend to do a lot now. If I have an idea, I record it on a voice memo. And then in terms of lyrics and things like that, I actually have all that again. Once I settle on a bunch of lyrics, they'll all go in a voice memo. And as you may know from the show with Lauren, I need to get better at naming all of those different recordings. She's onto it, which is great. But that's kind of how I keep track of music and lyrics for things, and it means that I can go and listen at any point if for some reason I do forget what I wrote. Oh, cool, I might have changed it, I might be happy with the change, but I can go back and find those initial ideas, figure out what I was doing, and I'll often talk to myself if there's something unusual in those voice notes. I'll often talk to myself and just basically say, right, okay, this is I'm tuned to this tuning. I've got a capo on the 4th fret, and it becomes like a little voice note, a little memory for me as well. So yeah, appreciate the question. Obviously, if you're online and live, welcome. Feel free to fire anything in the chat and say hi. If you do have any questions, you can either fire them in the chat or obviously send them through to my email. And we'll create something from them. But one thing I get asked a lot, and I wanted to cover, is the drum. The drum sound. We've done that. It was my Takamine guitar. People want to know what model it is. What are the details? So here you go. The details are finally there, forever stored, saved. Question here from Jeff about the Takamine. What Takamine model do you use and why? What other models do you like? Jeff, I have no idea what other models I like because I don't go out playing a lot of guitars. I have two that I really like, so I'm just not actually experimenting a lot with other guitars at the moment. But because I get asked a lot, my Takamine model is an ND15C. It's quite an old model now. I don't think you can get it unless you find someone selling one. And the preamp is the original 81 preamp. So, finally, the Takamine question's been answered. So, just to quickly wrap up again, appreciate you all. I hope those insights have been useful, and I will see you again on a Tuesday evening, New Zealand time, 7 o'clock. See you later.